Okay. So I guess we'll give them a couple minutes to, because we need one more anyway.
I'll just message Terry quick here.
Any response, Jen?
Not yet, no, from Terry.
Okay. Well, I think we'll get started. We don't have anything really quorum related for the first part, so.
I see Terry, he's joining now.
Oh,
okay.
Perfect.
Nope, there he is. All right. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Sorry about that.
Okay. No worries. So just so you know, we are live and recording, and we'll jump right into her. So we'll call the meeting to order at 3:06. So we've got one addition to the agenda. It'll be item 7.1, Trails website. Patricia to speak to that. So we'll add a 7.2. Sorry, 7.2. Any other additions to know about for the agenda before we adopt? Okay, take a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Terry Curtis, thanks. And adoption of the previous minutes from the meeting on February 2nd. Mover and a seconder for that, please.
Terry.
Terry, thanks.
Patricia can second.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, should we consider moving up the report to ahead so our guests don't have to hang out the whole time, or?
What do we got ahead of them?
We have Cassie ahead of.
Oh, it's just Cassie?
Yeah.
Yeah, just Cass.
Yeah, we'll just carry on. Cassie, be quick, and maybe she's got some interesting information. So we'll go to 4.1 Visitor Information Center report. Cassie, the floor is yours.
All right, so for the month of February so far, from the 1st to the 16th, we've had 20 parties breaking into 28 visitors. 5 were local, 5 BC, 7 Alberta, and 1 from other. There was $560 worth of sales so far. Consignment contracts all came back completed, and then racking fees have been sent out. A couple have come back. I'll wrap that up at the end of this month and give a report come March. And then March will also be sending out for the activity agreements coming in as well. And that is it so far.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, do we know where the other was from?
Saskatchewan.
Oh, that was it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you had one. I was thinking, okay, where are these people from? All right. Thanks, Cassie. We'll move on to 5.1 delegation.
I just need a mover and a shaker.
Oh, sorry.
Terry?
Terry and a seconder.
Oh,
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move into 5.1, delegation, Kimbo Design. We've got Kim and Trevor here to give us an update on the results from our social media campaign. The floor is yours.
Okay, hey guys. So what we wanted to do is run you through a deck really quickly in terms of some of the results of the social media. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Trevor take it away. He'll kind of walk you through the deck, and then if you have any questions, just ask.
Okay, thank you.
Would it be possible for me to share my screen? Chance.
Yes, Silvio can give you permission to do that.
Oh, just got it. Thanks. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen here right now. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So this is kind of the wrap up of the campaign results so far. From just a little bit of refresh, we started this campaign back in October 2020, and it ran all the way up until January 31st. And it consists of Google, Facebook, and Instagram. So 3 different advertising platforms. Now for the Instagram campaign, do note that it started about a week later than the rest of the stuff for Google and Facebook, just because we needed a little more time to get the video ready for that. So that one, we could consider October 30th, 2020, all the way up until January 31st, just so you know. So the campaign goals were to create brand awareness, attract more riders to Valemount, and build a snowmobile audience, and sort of generate interest for the area. And we did come up with key performance indicators that we tracked for the entire duration of the campaign, which were impressions, reach, ad clicks, conversions / results, and also click-through rates and conversion rates. Now, we do have the definitions of each term here. But just to quickly run through this, impressions are number of times an ad was shown, and the reach is the number of people. So there's like one of the key differences right there. And we can talk a little more about this once we go deeper into the deck as well, as I don't want to spend too much of your time on this report. So here we have an overview of the ads that we ran for the campaign. So that includes Facebook, desktop, and mobile ads, Google static and responsive ads, as we can see. Instagram side, we have the story ads. So these basically come in between normal stories that you would see on the app and the actual feed, which is where you actually see posts and the vertical scrolling side. And as you can see, there were call to actions in each and every one of these ads as well, which was book now. At the end of the video for Facebook, an overlay also comes on top of the video for book now, which you will be able to see if you can see the ad in actual Facebook. Moving on, so we have Google remarketing and display campaigns overview here. Now, just a little bit of a definition. Remarketing refers to any sort of advertising that we do for targeted audience, the audiences which have previously visited the Tourism Valemount website. We build a list of these people and try to retarget them with ads afterwards. And this is pretty effective considering the results that we've seen so far. And this we have done across of Facebook, Google, and Instagram. So first up, impressions. We got about 7.8 million impressions for Google ads, with the reach being about 300,000. So again, reach are unique audiences, so number of people that saw the ads, where impressions are number of times an ad was shown. For clicks, we have 67,000. So this many people actually clicked onto the ads and went for the actual landing page on Tourism Valemount. Now, it should be noted that this is different from conversions. Conversions are actual actions that we're aiming for the user to do. So in this case, it would be visiting the actual landing page of Tourism Valemount, which is different from the click itself, because just clicking on the ad, it could be an accident. The user may not necessarily want to go to the page. They may have closed the page before the page was even loaded. So when we look at clicks, these are the people who clicked on the ads, but the people who actually ended up on the pages are the conversions, which is 12,000 we have here. And we also did a little bit of investigation as well. Turns out the 3 top links on the landing page were hotels or motels, bed and breakfast, and Crystal Ridge. So it seems like people expressed most interest in these areas. And next up, we have Facebook. And so for Facebook, we got about 1.1 million impressions with about 126,000 reach and 11,000 clicks and 552 results. Again, the results are the actual people who ended up on the landing page. And on the Facebook side, the highest links on the landing page were cabins and lodges, hotels or motels, and places to eat. So what we can see here, it seems like a lot of people want to check out what Valemount offers in terms of hotels or motels or like other activities within the town on top of just snowmobile and skiing, the sort of main activities that people tend to usually come to Valemount for. So this is something that we can keep in mind for future marketing efforts. And next up, we have Instagram as well. So Instagram, we got about 314,000 impressions, 83K of reach, so unique people. Clicks, we have about 800 clicks, and about 106 of those actually ended up being results, i.e. ending up on the landing page. And in terms of the top links, Instagram is really similar to Facebook. Not much of a difference here. Cabin lodges, hotels and motels, and places to eat are top 3. So to make things a little easier to understand, we do have some graphics and charts here to show the results. And I'll quickly run through these as well. So as you can see, we got the most impressions on Google, Facebook coming second, and Instagram coming third. And here we can see that we got the highest jump in results from the period in December 1st to about January 31st. So the sort of last 2 months of the campaign, where we decided to layer in additional target groups like BC. And we also, at that point, we had more audiences that we can remarket to. So that probably helped as well. And also we made a little bit of changes to the targeting parameters, which we can go through in a bit as well. But yeah, so essentially we got the biggest jump in the last 2 months of the campaign. Next up, we have the reach breakdown. So as we can see here, Google still has the highest sort of percentage out of 3, but because Facebook and Instagram are at the end of the day kind of social media platforms, so they tend to have more data on users, their behavior, who they are, that sort of thing. So we can see that Facebook and Instagram did a much better job here at reaching unique audiences compared to Google, because Google at the end of the day can only show ads to people in general on the internet without the Facebook accounts and stuff like that. Next up, reach progress, same as the impressions, got a big jump in the last 2 months. But we should note that there was practically no change for the kind of last week or two of November, probably when we were getting close to Christmas time, though that got fixed pretty soon afterwards. So not much of a concern there. And then next up we have clicks. Again, Google dominates in this realm. Facebook coming second and Instagram third. And similarly, we see big jumps in the last 2 months. And finally, the most important factor is conversions. So how the ads actually did in driving people towards the Tourism Valemount website. And here we can see Google has the best results out of all. And has the best results out of all. And Instagram especially is pretty weak on the side. So it shows that a lot of people are expressing interest in the ad, but they're not really clicking into it and ending up on the webpage on Instagram specifically. Whereas Google and Facebook, we get a little more results. And here we can see the breakdown for progress again. So what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things with all the findings and everything? So just a quick summary of what we're thinking of is that, we added BC audiences on top of the original Alberta audience group, as mentioned. This was done in December 2020, which likely caused a big jump in the results, as we could see. So even though Alberta gathered more impressions as a whole, since this group has been targeted since October 2020, the BC group saw similar number of clicks in about half of Alberta's conversions and just a third of the campaign runtime. So if the two were to start at the same time, or given enough time, we can probably expect a BC focused campaign to have comparable or even better results than Alberta. And which also suggests that this could be a good audience group to target in the future. And especially if interprovincial travel restrictions continue to remain in effect as a result of COVID-19, of course. So here we can see the sort of targeting that we did in the two provinces visually. As you can see, we were more specific with Alberta, targeting specific cities or areas, whereas for BC, the initial idea was that we would do like a target sort of entire province, with especially focus on Kamloops, which was the main area that we targeted within BC. So again, this is something that we can consider in the future. Maybe doing targeting for an entire province could work in the future, as long as we have sort of a list of lookalike audiences that we can use for future targeting, which we have based on this campaign. We have created that already. So, and next up, a little bit about the video ads on social media side. So in the videos gathered about 1,700 post reactions, including likes and loves and all the different things you can do on Facebook. 63 comments, 51 posts saved, and 136 shares in total. So shares and saves are especially sort of encouraging because first of all, while sharing, it's basically free advertising from these people. They're sharing it amongst their own social circle, whereas the post saving means that there are people out there who may be interested in visiting Valemount, but perhaps just not right now. So they're saving the post for a later date to revisit. So that's something that we think is encouraging, because it shows that it could just be COVID-19 that's stopping people from coming right now. If they're saving a post into their own private collection, chances are they're interested somewhat. And we also ran an A/B test of the 30 seconds video and the 60-second version. And the results were that the shorter version gave us better results. And so that's the version that we ended up using for the campaigns. And a little more detail on this, only about 8% of the people who played the 60-second version got more than halfway through the video. So what that means is that most people drop out of that video before the 30-second mark anyway. So, it seems unnecessary to show the full version considering that. And here is just a refresh of kind of the likes and comments that we received on the Facebook video. 640 likes, reaction and stuff, and 111 comments and 69 shares. Now, some of these comments are positive, some maybe not so much, but in general, the engagement is good, and Tourism Valemount was able to kind of reply to the request and everything. So I think, these ads kind of did their job in gathering people's attention. And then next up, we have Instagram videos and likes. Now, note that video likes aren't shown to public on Instagram. So only the owner of the account can see that there were about 412 likes on the video. But everyone can see the video views, which is 47K. Now, for Instagram, it's a little different from Facebook because the ads were shown in both the feed and the story. And as you can see here is the story ad mock-up that we have. And there's the call to action button at the bottom as well. And it's a little different on the feed with the call to action button within the actual post. So next up, we have advertising platforms. Again, we have mentioned this already before with a bigger ad network for possible placements. Google campaign gained the most results across the board, which was impressions, reach, clicks, and conversions. But with extensive personal data that social media provides, we were able to reach more unique audiences on social media platforms. And so what could be a good idea to do in the future is to make use of the audience list that was created from the social media campaign this time and use it for future targeting, because now we have the sort of the personal data, the unique sort of behavior of these users on record. And also on social media, users are able to engage with Tourism Valemount directly, like comments or likes, to get information really quickly. And some recommendations that we have for the future, creating new creative assets, obviously, to keep everything fresh and to attract visitors for the remainder of the season. If that is something that we want to do, then it is important to maintain a presence with sort of constantly updating copy or graphics as well. And we also recommend layering in additional assets or messaging for summer/spring visitors because the winter season is coming to an end soon and people will start thinking about travel plans in the future then. So that would probably be a good idea if that is something that Valemount is interested in. Now, next up, because we have had pretty good engagement with social media campaigns, with a fair amount of organic comments and sharing, we think that a potential approach that we could take in the future is sort of exploring more creative ways to encourage interaction or so-called engagement from the audience. And this could come in the form of contests, sharing, or linking the post to your friends for a chance to enter a draw or something like that. These tend to kind of encourage people to share the post by themselves organically a lot more. And so that's one approach we could take. Another one is Google or YouTube video campaigns, such as YouTube pre-rolls, the little video ads that are shown to you before YouTube videos, basically. And these are highly effective. And since the audiences seem to be more receptive to shorter video clips, this should be perfect for Tourism Valemount moving forward. Next up, and this is an important one, we think, is that the landing page could be improved somewhat to encourage more visits, because right now we are seeing a lot of conversions or so-called results, so people ending up on the actual landing page. But it's more of an information portal that doesn't really provide a next step for the visitor They can read all they can on the website, and if they want to do any sort of booking and that kind of thing, they have to navigate elsewhere. Which is generally the rule is that the less the user has to navigate between different pages and websites, the more likely they would follow through with making plans to visit and stuff like that. Because as soon as they drop out of the website, they could get distracted and never come back. And so ultimately, what we're proposing is that we want to make planning a trip to Valemount as seamless as possible on the tourism website, which means that we can include contact forms for collecting contact information, or integrated booking portal if that's something that all the stakeholders are open to, or more simply an itinerary builder. And this is an example that Vancouver Island travel website has, where it basically has a listing of all the activities, restaurants, and sort of hotels and motels on the Vancouver Island. And you can look at all of them in one place, build your own itinerary, and have that entire thing exported for your own use. And that's something that we would recommend for Tourism Valemount as well. And lastly, this is, if applicable, is that if Valemount is interested in collecting contact information of interested individuals, social media lead ads can be explored. So what this means is that there will be an option for the audience to actually fill in their contact information in a form that appears directly on Facebook without them having to go onto a different landing page or a link. So if they see the ad on Facebook, they can click it and give their contact information right away just on Facebook. So this approach is really useful for building a direct marketing audience list. So email blasts, newsletters, or even promotions or early bird discounts like that, and building a lookalike audience list as well. And yeah, it's the best for efforts such as contests or downloadable resources that you know that the audience would really want, say like sort of tips and guides of the local area or something. So activities that provide an incentive for the audience to kind of provide their information and lets them kind of skip the extra step of going onto a different website so they can be more motivated to provide their contact information. So these are kind of the few big recommendations that we have noticed and are kind of proposing. But obviously there are sort of more minor adjustments that could be made as sort of future efforts go on as well. But just based on the information that we have from the existing campaign that we have done, I think this is kind of what we would suggest for next steps. Yeah, I think that's it. Did I miss anything, Kim? Anything?
No, no, I think that's it. I think something to point out, when we layered in the BC audience, I think there's a takeaway there. There was interest. So I think that needs to be explored a little bit more. And then also we got a good impressions because a lot of people went offline. So we were getting in people's feeds. So I think from a brand awareness point of view, I think we accomplished something that, can tell us a story about the BC audience.
Yeah, so I think that's it from us. Any questions or concerns so far?
Questions, comments from anybody out there?
Nice to see interest with the BC market. Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
I was actually
Yeah, actually,
shocked.
Made a note of that too. So do you think that's because that's kind of a new target that we haven't focused, that we're seeing that interest?
Yeah, I think so. And like, I think we're trying to give them photos of sunshine, right? We know in that area that it's pretty dark. right? And there's a lot of cloud in that area. And I think that, you know, people were just interested too. And they maybe it's never come up. They always get inundated with, you know, other areas. So I think it piqued some interest, and I think that can be explored.
Yeah, I'd be curious too if part of that is pandemic related, where people were looking to stay in province and
Yeah.
and sort of follow that guideline. So, no, some really good information on that. So, anybody have any more questions? I'll take a motion to accept the delegation.
Terry.
Terry, thanks. Seconder.
Patricia.
Thanks, Patricia. All right. Well, thanks, Kim and Trevor, for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we'll send you over the updated deck so that you can take a look at it closer if you like.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Great.
No problem.
Okay, we'll sign off. Bye, guys.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Good one.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments in the group before we move on?
I'll add one comment. So this last week, I did have 2 guys come through, and they're from Alberta. They were in the area sledding, and they let me know that they usually actually pick here opposed to Revelstoke. Apparently they like the tiny community that we have. So I thought that was pretty cool.
There you go. Get some new faces. Okay, we'll move on to item 6. We've got a correspondence for information only. Chamber of Commerce membership renewal letter. So we'll just take a motion to accept the correspondence. Curtis, thanks. Seconder.
Terry.
Thanks, Terry. And move on to old business. 7.1, the tourism strategy RFP results. Silvio.
We received 10 responses to our RFP, and staff and 1 member of the committee reviewed the proposals. We cut them down to 5, and then Stormy Lake Consulting had for us probably the most adequate proposal. Yes, normally, because here we've got a little bit of time constraint, normally we present always back to the committee and ask the committee to make a recommendation. But because of time constraints, and the time constraints is because the funding agency needs to have everything invoiced by March 31st, we had to jump a little bit and take it directly to council. So it has been approved. They will be starting to work as soon as we have got the contract ready. That means in the next few days. And my message to you is right now, please be available, because there will be a couple workshops with them. They're going to interview different stakeholders, and phase 1 is going to review the old roadmap. Next phase is going to be to do a little bit of market research specifically to the North Thompson and Valemount based on mobile data. So people who use their telephones and just kind of see who comes through the area to identify a specific market. And then the last component, also very important one, will be to review a little bit the governance structure of the DMO. Right now, unfortunately, we cannot say yet a lot of other things because officially we cannot advertise to the public because the funding agency has not given us the okay. But the group can work, of course, with the consultants, and the consultants will get in touch with us pretty soon. What is really important is this is a great occasion, first of all, to review the roadmap, to have a new strategy plan, and the most important thing also to review our destination marketing organization governance structure. So I hope you can give us some time in the next 2 months until the end of March. And if we need to, we will extend it a little bit into the second week of April.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Terry?
So if I understand right, so the RFP committee was supposed to break it down into so many, bring it to us, and then we decide, but we had a timing constraint on it and it was chosen. Do I understand that correct?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And we also invited whoever wanted or could to be part of the evaluation committee. And we received only one that had the time or was willing to do it, and it was Tony.
Okay. And when did why did we have to decide last week, like between the 2-week meetings? I'm just asking, like, why was the time frame?
No, that's important. Because it's a lot of work and it needs to be done by March 31st. And it is a requirement of the funding agency. And right now I cannot say any names, unfortunately, of the funding agency, but it's a funding agency that needs to have the dollars that they made available spent before March 31st because it's their fiscal year. There are many government agencies and also other agencies that have the fiscal year April the 1st, March 31st. And so because there were some funds available, we applied for those funds, received $16,500. And unfortunately, the time is very short because if we waited for this meeting and then if we took back to council, we would have been at the end of February and we would have lost another 2 weeks, unfortunately, right? And then we would only had probably 3 or 4 weeks March, and that it's almost impossible. We're already right now in a very time constraint a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I understand time constraints. I just think there could have been an email. Whichever things. I think you guys did a great job, by the way. Like, and I know you chose to write, but these are still decisions of the board. And I know you guys have the best interest of the board, definitely 100%. But even a quick email, and if the vote wasn't in within 6 hours or 20, it could be this, or it could be a grand scheme of, that's all.
No, not only email, we had asked all the members at the last 2 meetings to participate.
Yes, I understand, to bring the 5 or whatever number to the board. No, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it was a very short time frame, and
I understand that constraints.
Yeah, and I'll admit that I was caught off guard when it hit council's agenda for a special meeting, not having heard anything on it. So,
and I'll say good job on getting it to council too, to not hold us up longer. Definitely. I understand all of it.
So for this, are we looking at like a 5-year roadmap again, Silvio, kind of?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So 5-year plan. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I guess not really a motion needed on that. It's
just for information right now. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that. 7.2 Trails website. Patricia.
Hello, everybody. I just want to, just bring up the website again, that we are in need definitely of redoing it. It's outdated and there's new programs in place that, can improve it. So I would just like to maybe make a suggestion that we put some funds towards redoing that website, hopefully by summertime, if at all possible.
Okay. Silvio, any thoughts?
Yeah, very briefly, we know that it's an important piece of information. I think what in this case, what may be a little bit tricky, and I want to be very open here, is that if we put out an RFP, we may get many responses of probably people who may not be qualified, because we may also ask for the content of the trail. So must be mostly, or should be mostly, a local person who either has walked the trails, has done a real GPS information for each trail and can also describe those trails. And here, probably what we need to do is we'll see if now, I don't know if Patricia has got an amount kind of that she thinks that could be okay for this kind of type of work, then we'll see if we have to go to a larger RFP or if we can stay below the maximum limit for the procurement that we have in our procurement policy, which is around $10,000. So that means there we would just kind of go probably for a request for quotes and not for a huge RFP.
I would say it's definitely under 10,000. Around 7,000, I think, would give us a really good website, which is maybe about half of what some of the other websites have cost in the past. So, and also if that doesn't quite cover it, I could look into potentially some funds coming from Yora to, top it up a bit.
Patricia, are you looking to redo the site or just the data?
Everything.
What's wrong with the site?
Well, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just it's old, and there's been ideas brought forth by people that, for improvements. It's the data, it's the mapping, there's just a lot of things that need to be relooked at and redone.
Cool.
Yeah, I think when we had our meeting about the Trails website, I mean, and having kind of looked at it, it was kind of I found it a little clunky to get around, and like Patricia says, the data is definitely outdated and stuff like that. So whether it's a complete remake or just a reformatting and matting of the existing website, but with new information. So
Yeah,
Terry?
Sorry, Terry.
Yeah, I personally don't even know that we do have a Trails website. But if you're saying data's old, I'm assuming it's very old, right?
I can't remember, but it's at least 6. I don't know, Silvio, you would know, 7 years.
7 years, yes.
So
Yeah.
is this hiking trails, ski trails, snowmobile trails, mountain bike trails? What trails?
This is hiking and cross-country skiing. Originally, we had the biking on there too, but we definitely decided to take it off because, for one, as the new bike trails all got built, it got really fastly outdated. So so it's totally hiking and cross-country skiing.
Not necessarily. The mountain biking is a main tab on the heading, and it just reverts it back to the Varda page.
Oh, okay. The tab's still there, but we have nothing really on the, which is great.
It just reverts back to the mountain bike section on the Varda page, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know.
Well,
I think we need good mapping. I think that's, but are we changing anything? I don't think it's something that gets jumped in easy. I think if we're going to do it, we do it right. I know if we're looking at adding, I believe we're looking at adding, assessing new trails or fat biking. I'm not quite sure what all the details are, but it's pretty exciting on some things that are coming up there.
Well, we wouldn't really include the fat biking because that, of course, is a winter biking thing, which would be on the Varda website.
Okay.
So we are pretty much strictly looking at summer
Hiking.
Trails.
Okay.
Hiking. Yeah.
You said cross country, but.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And cross country skiing. Yeah. But not cross country biking.
Well. Okay.
Another kind.
You wouldn't do both on a trail? No?
You can, but like I said, we originally had it, and because we just didn't have all the updated information, and it just was taking off like wild, so we just decided we could not handle having the biking on there ourselves.
Sorry, Patricia, we get stuff done, man.
Yeah.
I know, which is wonderful. Absolutely.
And Terry, it seems to be working really fine when it relates back to the Varda kind of thing for now. We've got what we look after. Yora has what they look after. I think it's a good idea.
Is it? And honestly, I hate to say this, but I revert all this stuff back to Curtis because he's got his hand in everything. Well, he has the big picture, right? He does. So, and that's why he is the manager of Varda.
They're
Right.
definitely the pros in this, and I think it's a good idea. If we find the right person, we could have a good product. I think finding that right person is going to be the key.
The key, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, with, I don't know, in my mind anyway, hiking is becoming like the most popular thing around. I mean, people absolutely love it. And with our new Terry Fox Trail, I think this will be just a huge attraction to the area, because it's got the name for one, and it's going to be just the most amazing trail almost anywhere. So,
that's-
you know,
That's a big anywhere.
If
But I understand 98% of my business in the summer is hiking.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Curtis?
Yeah, just if I may, I think you're almost looking for two people here. I think you're looking for the person who has the mapping detail, so the GPS lines of the trail that Patricia doesn't have. She has a ton. The trails didn't move, right? You just added some new trail in. So, and then someone to write the descriptions. So if you have someone who can confirm the GPS coordinates and write the description of the trail, and then someone who can put that into the web format. So I think I don't think that's going to be the same person. You need basically someone to write you a library of trails.
Yeah.
And then you need someone to put it into the web.
Yeah, no, you're right.
In fact, that could also be an option. See if we can, and I put it in quotation marks, kind of buy that trail information, GPS information description, and then eventually somebody else could also put it in a web format or layout. Yes, that's true. Curtis, could be done.
Yeah.
And that's something that's open. Now, I also want to be very open. You remember at the last meeting and probably also the previous meeting, I have always been a little bit reluctant with this project for various reasons. One reason being is that we are going to review the whole strategy plan in the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6, 8 weeks. We will also be reviewing our governance structure. And when I'm saying that, it could be that we may have a different form of destination marketing organization here. Could be that, yes, still working with the village, but it could be a separate society. And that would give the society, of course, much more freedom in working and dealing with contracts. Because we are, as a village, strictly, we have to follow the guidelines of our procurement policy. So that's why I was a little bit reluctant. And I also talked with Patricia, and I said, but Patricia made a good point. She said, but if we wait too long, then again, we're behind for the summertime. So yeah. I'm aware of all these kind of aspects, and I also want you to be aware of these kind of aspects. So that's why it could be a little bit tricky. At the same time, it can be done. And we can also say, yeah, we can buy that information, and then have somebody else to work on the web and layout as also Curtis suggested.
And I think a key part too, and you mentioned it at the beginning, Silvio, is if we go the RFP route, that's going out everywhere, and you're going to have people with no local knowledge bidding on a contract. Whereas if we can, keep it within the procurement policy and aim at somebody that has local knowledge, and we're going to have a much better product. I mean,
yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Okay, so where would we like to go with this? What are our options for?
How do we go about finding somebody that can do the GPS port? It sounds like we're A and B, and A is going to be finding out if we can, or to find somebody to do the GPS portion.
I think it's more of an audit of what files don't we have right now.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be like looking at what you have, what you do own and what you don't?
Well, we do have a lot of files, but I think from what I understand, they just need to be updated and put onto the latest programs.
Yeah. So you have the mapping, you just need to put it on.
Yeah, but some of it. I mean, there's a few things that we don't have, but most of it's there.
Yeah.
And the descriptions are there. They do need worked on, just as we always do every year with the trail map. So you know, yes, they all need to be just looked at again.
Okay, what direction would we look at? Sylvia, do we, something you could look into?
I mean, if you make the motion, or if Patricia makes the motion, and if somebody seconds the motion, as Patricia also mentioned, if the tourism committee says, okay, we'll make available up to $7,000, and if needed, Yora can add or top up that amount. That could be the motion, right?
Okay.
And then we could go with just a request for quotes, and that could be one way of doing it. And we could also have a timeline, have everything done, let's say by May 31st as an example, okay? And that could be done now. And here, however, we would need, yes, your support, motion, and so on and so on. Yeah.
Okay.
And I checked also from a technical point of view with our director of finance and also with our CEO, you know, just to make sure that we are okay with the procurement policies. And they said in this case, if we do it like this here, yes, it could be done.
Okay, and budget wise, that's.
And budget wise, we have it, yes.
Okay. So Patricia, did you want to?
Is it
Make that-
okay if I make the motion?
Certainly.
Okay, I guess I will put the motion down that we look at spending about $7,000 on a new website. It could be split up into two different formats, the GPS and the writing of it. And if it needs topped up, that Yora would look at adding some funds to it.
Okay, seconder for that. Diane, thanks. Any more conversation before we call the vote on that one? Okay, all in favor?
In favor?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, guys. So you got the wording down for that, Jen?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, no, I think it could be a valuable asset out there to update that, so.
Well, hiking is in the summer. It's what most of the tourists are here doing.
Yep.
I mean, we have some of the most beautiful landscape around anywhere. It compares with Jasper easily. And we could even combine it with ATV access, Terry. There are some-
Yeah, no, it's good. GPS files are good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's great trails that you can even go a little further on an ATV before you actually have to start walking.
Mm.
So yeah, we could even, you know, have mention of that in there.
Perfect. All right, thanks, guys. We'll move on to item 8.1, Mountain Sledder digital piece, verbal from Curtis and Jen. Curtis.
I'm not sure what Jen put that on there for, to be honest.
I just, I'll talk. I'll talk.
Okay.
I just wanted to update you guys. So, in the fall in our advertising budget meeting, we approved Mountain Sledder digital. So we're gonna have Mountain Sledder coming up to do some filming. They'll be here the 22nd to the 24th and be working with FARDA. They're gonna do a kind of Mountain Sledder comes to Valemount piece. So of course, like some different riding areas and filming town. And yeah, and then we're also going to get a couple 30-second clips as well out of that footage.
Okay.
So it was just, yeah, just to update everyone and let you know that that was happening.
Okay. Good enough. Thanks.
That's all. Yeah.
And congratulations, a nice article there, Curtis. It was
Oh,
nice,
thank
nice piece out there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? All good?
On that subject, right? You were talking.
Uh,
Or anything else?
well, you can have comments on that or we'll move on. And,
Yeah, no, I have nothing on that.
okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Terry?
Yeah. No, and I was just thinking of it. As part of ARDA, a local was selling the the trailer for the mountain bike park. And we were going to buy it. And then another, as Varda, something else come up our way for the, another item for the mountain bike park. So I know I'm going to talk about this in our meeting tomorrow, but I think this asset is a great asset to have in Valemount. I don't know if tourism is, if we would kick some money in to help Varda buy it. I don't even know if Varda is going to relook at buying it, but I just thought that today we're having a meeting, and it just hit me yesterday that, okay, we're going to move into this better option, but still that trailer is, I think, a vital part of that mountain bike park. And that's why we were going to purchase it the first time. But I'm just wondering is there any money in tourism that would help support Varda into buying it or go in partnership with them or whatever. Anyway, I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask a quick question. What kind of trailer are we talking about?
Yeah. It's for the bike park, for towing bikes up.
Oh, okay.
If I may, Terry,
Shuttle trailer.
Yeah, Terry, I don't know if this is the right place for this at this point now, but that's up to you. That's up to you. It's out there now. Yeah, there was one trailer for sale. One of Aaron's trailers Peak Shuttle's trailers were for sale, and Varda was contemplating for club events, out of town trips, that type of thing. And then we've since moved it into more of a maybe possibly putting that asset down towards a fat bike groomer instead to start something that we can do immediately to try to create another winter activity for Valemount. So I think we're moving in that direction. I like where Terry's head's at, and just, not sure.
The trailer is still for sale, is it not, Curtis?
I believe it is, yes.
I believe it is. Okay. I just know that tomorrow I'm going to bring this up at the meeting, and then I thought, since we're here today at the meeting, is it something that tourism would consider? But I have no idea what Varda feels about it yet. Except for what Curtis just said, but maybe I'll leave it and we'll come back to it.
All right. We'll table that for further information.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
It's on YouTube now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add? All quiet. Date of next meeting, Tuesday, March the 2nd. Holy cow, March already.
Yeah.
March 2nd. And we will continue to do Zoom meetings for time being.
March 2nd, that's almost 1 year.
I know, right?
Pandemic, yeah. March 23rd is when we shut her down.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, if nothing else, then I'll take a motion for adjournment and we'll call her a day. Terry, we got her. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.